Oh, Barbara, you see here, this is Ramanand Prabhu. He's 27 years old.
27.
Yes, and he's given up his whole life for this. What more do we have to say?
When did it happen?
He's so he's so inspired by the ideals of Krishna consciousness. He has given up everything else. He has left all the prospects of this world behind. He's exclusively living his life for this. And he's just been on a tour in America with our sannyasi, young sannyasi Tyagi Marsh, and traveled all over America, New York, California, Salt Lake City, and everywhere he's going, he's bringing this heavy recording equipment with him. And all day long he's...
Quite heavy, yeah.
Yeah, it's heavy, yeah. And all day long if he's not recording, then he's preparing videos and audio and uploading onto the internet for devotees all over the world to listen to. It's just incredible. So tell us where you are, Barbara. What were your impressions of the last retreat, and what are your thoughts coming now? You're here for a few days, is it? Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts about Krishna consciousness? Do you think we're all kind of crazy?
And some... When I met Krishna Kanta, yes, of course, she's crazy. I like this kind of craziness, That's because I'm attracted.
Many people, they say that they are attracted and they can't understand why. Their heart is pulling them and they can't understand why.
Yes, true. I'm still observing. I'm still in the mood of, I'm in the corner, I stay in the corner, I listen, I really like to participate and to listen to your stories, and everything is so, new to me. And, because I'm more approaching in this moment of my life the yoga philosophy and the yoga practice. So it's like, of course, it all began with Barbara, the other Barbara, which is a very good friend of mine. And I start just attending to the Bhagavad Gita lectures.
The Friday night class.
And that was, wow, I really like it to listen, and of course there are so many questions in this moment of my life I'm asking myself. No answer, just I'm trying to stay, to stay, to breathe, listen and observe. I just, for the moment, I feel like I cannot go farther. I'm just, kind of waiting. What else? So.
But you've gone to some trouble to come here today.
Pardon?
You've gone to some trouble to come here today.
No, not really. No trouble, just the trouble for me every time is like coming back from a place I really feel I'm there, like it could be even a journey, a particular holiday or a retreat. Then I go back to my normal life. And I feel like
that's the trouble.
Okay, no, I can't stand it. That's just, But it's like I'm really working on this, trying to find my Dharma. I will say this.
Beautiful.
I'm
You are
just-
a seeker.
Yes. I'm always been. I feel like I've always been like this since a child. Just
Since a child.
just like searching and looking and observing nature. It was like my goddess, really, always. And love is the word just always in my heart. Where is love? Why do people call love and they act in crazy way?
Yes.
And then you become kind of a system, and so in this moment I feel like I'm really in the wrong system for my nature. Talking about the job, so it's like I'm praying. I'm using mantras to get answer and to know what to do, because I have many ideas, but it's a little bit confused, like what I'm supposed to do.
Okay. And I can say some things, but if you have any specific questions, and we can
I'd
Just
like
that.
to listen.
Okay.
And if during your conversation I feel like,
Okay.
really, thank you.
Okay. Well, having heard what you said now, what comes to me, what I'm inspired to speak on, is one expression of a German philosopher called Hegel. Our grandfather Guru Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj, he liked him very much. And our Gurudev commented that his philosophy is the closest that we find in this world to what we are following, the line of Vaishnavism. We also say, Christianity, Srila Sridhar Maharaj says Christianity is like undefined Vaishnavism. All of the main ideas are there, but it's very hazy, very vague. The idea of a personal God, of a life of service, giving, dedication, sacrifice, these paramount principles are there, but it is very hazy. What is the nature of God, and what exactly will our relationship be, and so on and so forth. But anyway, we heard that mention about Christianity, also about the philosophy of Hegel, this German philosopher. He lived a couple centuries ago. I don't remember when exactly. Yeah, but a few of his expressions, Srila Sridhar Maharaj liked, and one of them was, he said that if an absolute entity does exist, then he must have two characteristics. One, that he must be by himself. Means that there is nobody else like him. He is in his own category. He is the supreme original Lord, or as is expressed in one of our Sanskrit compositions, Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the cause of all causes. He is the original cause, the original source. You're nodding like this is something familiar to you. Did Tyagi Maharaj talk about this?
Yeah, but it's also familiar to yoga philosophy.
Oh, okay. So this is one characteristic. He must be in his own category. He is his own source, and he is the source of everyone and everything. Otherwise, if it were not so, he could not be the supreme entity. That is one. And then the second, he is for himself. Means he exists for his own purpose, for his own satisfaction. And everything in this world exists also for his satisfaction. He is the creator of this world. He is the source of this world. And this world exists for his satisfaction. And that also includes ourselves. We also exist for him, for his purpose. And so we understand that to be the fundamental and original current that is flowing in this world. It is the original current is actually flowing towards him. The fundamental reality is flowing in accordance with his will. This whole world came from him, and it exists for his satisfaction, actually. So, in the same way that we are actually creators of our own lives, we all come into this world with some particular set of desires, prejudices, likes, dislikes, inclinations, and according to that we live our life, and we try to seek out the things that fit into what is pleasing or not pleasing to us. But as we are doing so, he also has his own life, and his own plan, and his life is in connection with the eternal plane, with the plane of eternity, divinity. Whereas our, finite existences, it is based on some very temporary set of conceptions that are acquired and actually unnatural to our real selves. And so this is the call of the Veda. Leave behind your concocted conceptions of who you are and what you think you are. Come to join this universal and fundamental flow, the Lord's flow, which is in connection with that plane of eternity. This is the call of the Vedas. Awake, arise, come to seek out your real fortune. So that is the hard part, actually. It is easy to accept, yes, it is God must exist and he must be supreme and there must be nobody else like him. Yes, I can accept that. But to accept that I also exist for him, my whole life is meant to be for him, that is difficult, And that is what a life of surrender is about. Trying to come under the influence of that higher wave, or to try to dance in that wave, to learn how to dance in that higher wave, and leave behind our artificial and concocted life in this world, to act in accordance with the interest of our soul, that eternal aspect of ourself. To act in his interest is synonymous with our own best interest. That is the difficult, that is like a difficult pill for us to swallow at present. What is in God's best interest is also in my best interest. They are synonymous. They are one and the same. It is that life, that beautiful life of love and service, dedication. We are trying to become, comfortable with that, Sorry, do you want to say something?
The difference between our best interest and our understanding of our best interest?
Very good question. But I think you know the answer. You're asking for our benefit. Yes, that is the life of surrender, to become acquainted, with what is in our best interest by the prescription given in the scriptures, the revealed truth, the revelation that has come, that has descended, that is indicated to us through the advice of the saintly persons. We are trying to become acquainted with what is in our own best interest, certainly. And I lost my flow now.
It's a nice flow.
Let me think. Where was I? Oh, yes. So what we are following, sometimes it is called Bhagavat Dharma, the like God's own religion, God's own version, you could say, God's own version of religion. Many different versions of religion in this world. This is God's own version. This is how he says it directly. There's one verse in the Bhagavatam, one of our scriptures that our Gurudev liked, which gives a definition of Bhagavat Dharma. Bhagavat is indicating the personal aspect of God, Bhagavan. So Bhagavat Dharma, that like Dharma, that path, religion pertaining to Bhagavan. But there's one verse that defines that, and it says simply to do what God says. Jevai Bhagavata Prokta Upaya Hatma Labde Anjapum Sam Avidusham Vidi Bhagavatan Dharman. Like that to know Bhagavat Dharma to be those means which have been prescribed by the Lord Himself, by which one even the most ignorant persons can reach Him. But literally Bhagavat Prokta, what has been spoken by God, what He has said directly is His desire. That is the Bhagavat Dharma. Our Gurudev, he joked once saying that if Krishna says that he wants a samosa, samosa now? Okay, we have a couple out here. We can share some with you later.
Very good.
Yes, very good.
They're so good.
So our Gurudev joked saying, if Krishna says he wants a samosa, then we will give him a samosa. That's our religion. To do what God wants. To give him what he wants. So Bhagavat Dharma, sometimes we say, or sometimes we say Gaudiya Vaishnavism, or we'll say Krishna consciousness. The different expressions are there. But also one way it is expressed is the Jaiva Dharma. Jaiva is coming from Jiva. Jiva, maybe you're familiar with, a living entity. Mm-hmm. So indicating, what is the natural religion of every living entity. What is the religion of the soul, you can say? What is the natural expression of the soul in its original state, free from any conditioning of the mundane world? That is what we are following. It is not something to be acquired, actually, in that sense, but rather it is more about an awakenment. Mm-hmm. Of what is our own inner wealth. It's mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem, Sadhya Kabunoi, Shravanadi, Shuddha Chitte, Kodoye, Udoy. That this Krishna Prema, this divine love for Krishna, it is not something to be acquired from somewhere else. But it is living within the hearts of all living entities. It is there by nature. It is inherent. It is intrinsic to the soul. But it is in a bud state, you can say, And through the process of Shravan, Kirtan, hearing and chanting, that may be awakened. So that is what it is about, And that awakenment, we cannot do it on our own. But in the, company of others whose hearts are awakened, it is like fanning a flame, mm-hmm. and allowing it, helping it, encouraging it to burn more brightly, like that. And this word dharma, sometimes it's translated in different ways, right? You must know that. But one way it is given is what is the nature, what is the intrinsic nature of any living entity. And so Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he expressed, we can say, that everything that we find in this world has some inherent tendency. So water has a tendency to flow, fire has a tendency to burn. That is natural. And so in the same way, we understand that the tendency of the living soul is to serve, to give, to dedicate oneself. That is the inherent tendency of every living entity. the conception of being a consumer, an enjoyer, an exploiter, that is, Srila Sridhar Maharaji compares it to a type of like intoxication, actually. It is an artificial thing, that spirit of enjoyment. It is a type of aggression, actually. We consider ourselves as, master of all that we survey, as the American expression goes, We consider that this world exists for our satisfaction. We are the subject. This world is full of so many objects for our enjoyment. This is an artificial, state of consciousness, actually. But the natural mood, the natural tendency of every living entity is to serve and to give. And we see that, that we cannot avoid that, actually. We find glimpses of that everywhere, even in, the most powerful persons who may command so many people. We can find them, serving their cat or serving their dog or serving their children, or teenagers, they'll have like a poster of a movie star on their wall. I mean, maybe they're not offering incense, but practically they are.
Selfies.
Right. They're expressing worship in a different way. When I was, I think I was in February or March, I was flying to India, and on these long distance flights, they have like movies and documentaries, and a couple of seats ahead of me, there was someone who was playing a documentary about the Beatles. And it was like right like in front of me here, and I was like watching part of it, and I just was so astounded to see the intense like reactions that people had to the Beatles, like thousands of screaming teenage girls, I don't know if you've ever seen that, maybe young at like concerts or something, hundreds and thousands of screaming teenage girls jumping up and down and screaming, and they have like signs up like, John, I love you, and like, I mean, it's like just crazy, And then maybe some of those people will say, I don't believe in God. Like, you've made the Beatles your God.
That's true.
How can you say there's no God? This is idol worship, actually.
Exactly, they call it my idol.
Right. They say that.
You call it, yeah. No, you don't believe so.
Because you can't avoid that tendency to want to give yourself, to want to offer yourself, to worship somebody who you consider to be superior to you in some way or another. Our Gurudev said, this is the intrinsic nature of every living entity, to be attracted by some higher power and want to serve that, So he also, our Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj, he also pointed out how like in Aboriginal communities, what do they worship? They worship the sun, the moon, the trees, the ocean, the mountains, They're considering this is some superior power, some superior force, and they're attracted to give themselves to that. You just cannot avoid that. It is so natural to us. But in this world, we see it is directed, to a very finite sphere. It is, in what is in our immediate environment, we are directing that tendency to that, to family members, to friends, to, movie stars, or whatever it may be. We are directing that tendency to a very limited sphere. But we cannot get that deep reciprocation of the heart that we need, Actually, as we understand, the heart wants to go to Krishna, actually. He is the real source of all of these things. He is the source of all that beauty, that attraction, that charm, that love, whatever, all of these great, qualities and characteristics that we find in the environment, we understand he is the source of that. And similarly, correspondingly, that tendency to give, to worship, it will find its real, desired end there in connection with him. Like one of our Vaishnava acharyas, Srila Madhva Acharya, he said that actually every word wants to glorify Krishna. Every word wants to go to Krishna. But what we do is we tie down these words and we limit them to some like local and finite conception. And he compared it to a horse. He said, if you let a horse go, it will run where it wants. But if you put some like reins on the horse, then it's like tied down. It cannot go freely where it wants to go. So in the same way, all of these tendencies of the heart, we are tying them down. We are like limiting them. We are restricting that. That real flow of the heart. The heart wants to go to Krishna. Its only real satisfaction will be found there. But we are putting so many checks and reins on that natural flow of the heart. So this is like the shift. It's the dramatic shift of consciousness that in this world we are encouraged like to see how this world exists for us. This world exists for us, and I'm trying to we're actually like imposing our own ideas upon the environment. But in the life of surrender, it entails taking just the opposite stance, that, I actually already have some natural place in the environment. And I'm trying, rather than creating something, I want to try to discover what that is. What is that? What is my real place in this world? How can I fit in this natural flow? What contribution do I have to make to this natural flow of the environment? Not that the environment exists for me. It is like if you go into nature. As you said, you have so much affinity with nature. Actually, human beings are terrible.
I know. That's why.
Because our problem is that we have this wonderful consciousness that's so highly developed, but we misuse it. We use it against ourselves. That is the problem. The animals, the trees, they're living innocently, actually. They don't have so much consciousness, but we have that consciousness. And the point of that consciousness is to be used for some higher cause, but we use it for a very lower purpose, and then we're actually worse than the animals and the trees and the plant life. That is a very sad thing.
It's very sad, yes, because we should be aware that we are guests, we do not own anything here in this planet.
It is like if you go out and if you go into a jungle, you'll see there's some natural ecosystem, right? Every element, every part has some particular contribution, some parts to play. We see like with the trees. The trees, they give out oxygen, they take in carbon dioxide, right? There's some natural relationship here. So Krishna consciousness is about like people talk about holistic living, like living in harmony. This is the ultimate harmony. To connect with that original source and that original flow and understand what is my natural part to play in that flow, in that fundamental flow. How can I participate in that most beautiful and original, harmonious flow? So this is the ultimate self-discovery. People talk about self-discovery. People talk about adventure. So here we are told, try to find yourself you can find yourself, but it will only be possible in the plane of dedication. If you can begin to consider and understand yourself as a giving agent, We tend to think that if we give, we will lose, actually. If we give something away, we will lose it. But spiritual transaction, it is just the opposite. We will gain by giving. We will find our real nature is to give, to contribute, to serve, to dedicate, to sacrifice. We will discover ourselves through that. So that is the adventure, the challenge, the journey of spiritual life, to discover, deeper and deeper levels of self-giving. And Krishna Kanta Didi and all the devotees here, they can tell you about that, their lives of giving.
This is processes of giving. It's more internal than external, and how to know in which circumstances to give what.
How to know in which circumstances to give what?
Yeah.
Well, that giving must be in connection with a higher agent. It will not be according to our own conception. It must be as has been requested from the higher plane. And ultimately, of course, it is our false conception of self, that must leave us, And that will take place by trying to satisfy the will of the higher plane. And we may give things or give up things, but that is really an expression of that inner tendency and that inner attempt to dedicate.
How we will come to know, personally, what I'm supposed to do, how I can give myself, and which way and to whom exactly.
Well, we have to take shelter of the higher travelers on the path. Those who are more experienced, who know the way, they're a little ahead of us. We can call out, "Can you help me? Which way should I turn here? Which way should I turn there? I don't have a GPS. You have to be my GPS." We have to. That is a part of the life of surrender, that we are ready to set aside our own estimation of who we are and what is best for us and what is the best way to go forward. That is difficult. It is difficult. But that is necessary if we want to go deep into a life of surrender and giving. We have to take that step to give up that fear that we have, to offer ourselves. We have to give that up, and we have to find that suitable agent, who we feel can help us, who our heart, feels some resonation with. That will be necessary.
I heard this expression: if you carry someone's luggage, you won't get lost.
If you carry someone's luggage.
If the person is on the path and he's very steady, he's moving in the right direction, you'll be helping him by carrying his luggage.
What if he doesn't have any luggage? I'm just teasing you, because you're always finding the fine points.
It's funny because I just bought a book before coming, and the title is Just Hand Luggage.
Just hand luggage.
Yeah. This is the title. Just Hand Luggage.
And they say that acquiring too much of anything can stop you from moving further with the right, speed. So hand luggage can be something little, something necessary for a journey. Not too much, not too little, just enough to get to the point. And that's pretty much about everything, including knowledge.
Yeah.
But where is this balance and how to understand what is sufficient? Because for someone it's one, and for another one it's another.
Sorry, what's that, Prabhu?
How to understand what is sufficient? What is the sufficient amount? Like,
Okay.
say, hand luggage.
Okay.
Like, for one
One
guru.
toothbrush. No passport. Yeah, sure. One towel to get dry, and then this couple of sets of clothes. And if you go to the mountain, something warm. And if you go to the beach, a swimming suit. That's it.
But someone opens
A couple of
temples,
shoes.
someone opens temples all over the world, someone have thousands of disciples, and for him it's necessary, like Ramanand Maharaj, for him it's necessary to have funds to keep moving. And for someone, like you said, just brush to the so how to understand what is the right amount?
Well, I mean, I think you've answered your question. For every person, it will be different. It is an individual case. What is renunciation for one will not be renunciation for another, right? It depends on your capacity, on your specific service. Mahaprabhu, Ramananda Rai, who lived like as a, wealthy man who had intimate service, with the dancers and Puri. Mahaprabhu glorified his renunciation actually in one place, But then in another case you have Rup, Sanatan, Raghunath, who lived extreme lives of what we would generally consider to be renunciation. Mahaprabhu also glorified that and encouraged that, so it is all dependent on the individual. Srila Sridhar Maharaj said that, I think it's in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it says that it's advised, don't make too many temples. And Srila Saraswati Thakur was going through different points, and this came up at that time. And then Srila Sridhar Maharaj immediately thought, well, Prabhupada has opened so many temples, so how can we accommodate this? And then in the next sentence, Srila Saraswati Thakur answered, and he said, it is a question of capacity. One man may be able to rule a whole kingdom and still have some spare time. Another man won't be able to manage his family. That will be overwhelming for him, So it is a question of individual capacity and service necessity. And for our own individual case, that we have to see what is the service that is coming to us, what direction is coming from the Vaishnavas, what inspiration is in my heart. But generally we try to keep things simple. That is the general principle. Simple living, high thinking, that is the general principle. We try, but if due to service necessity, we may adjust. We may have to expand. But simple living, high thinking, this is beautiful. This is the style of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. But if someone has some service that is coming to them, then that will be called Falgu Vairagya, false renunciation. They will reject that. Oh, this is mundane. This is service. You need to carry a big suitcase for some project for Avadut Maharaj. No, I'm only traveling with hand luggage. Then that will be false renunciation. That will not be true renunciation. But what is true renunciation? Anasaktasya vishayam yatarham upayunjata nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yukta vairagyam uchate. Yukta vairagya, this is our path. Properly adjusted renunciation. To be personally detached from everything. To be free from any personal attachment. And to see everything in connection with Krishna's service. And to use it accordingly. That is real, proper renunciation. to be free from that personal attraction or aversion, which our lives are generally based upon. To be free from those tendencies and to see everything in its pure form, how it really exists, what it is really for. That is our disease. We're seeing everything through this filter of our own selfish interest, and we're not seeing it as it is and what its real purpose is. The other day, this is a small example, but sometimes these small things are helpful. But when Devi Shish Prabhu was here, we had one visiting speaker from London, and he's older and he needs a chair. And so it was time for our Sunday program, and I put a chair out for him over here. And he wasn't in the room, he was out doing something else. And it was about 30 minutes before he came in. And in the course of that 30 minutes, different devotees kept coming in and moving the chair in different places. Or one devotee put their glasses on the chair. They saw it as a place, it's a glasses holder. And another devotee, put their jacket on it. And another devotee moved it over here. Another devotee was about to take it out of the room, this chair is in the way, why is this here? And they're taking it out of the room, and each time I'm this is for Devi Shish Prabhu, this chair is, I put this here for Devi Shish, he needs a chair, and everyone's seeing this chair in a different way, So in the same way, everything in this world has some natural and real purpose, but we're seeing it according to our very limited vision, right? We may see a beautiful woman or a beautiful man and think, oh, I can have a good time with them. But actually, with pure vision, we will think, oh, this person exists to serve Krishna. They exist to serve. Why do we have to see it in this limited way, how it pertains to our own satisfaction? It is so sad, actually. It is really, really sad thing. So nothing has to change in our life. It is just this shift of consciousness, to see, that is beautiful vision, to see everything, how it can exist, to contribute to some higher plane. If we can see everything and be reminded of that higher plane.
And then I can distinguish between looking at the things and understanding it. What you are describing is actually seeing it as that. So that's quite different things. If I look at the thing and I see it in one way, but I understand how it actually, what it meant to be. But the pure devotee, he wouldn't have to understand it in a different way, but he will see from the beginning that wow, this, it has a purpose, and this person has a purpose. And is there a moment where this changes when I see things in a proper angle straight away, when I don't have to see it in the wrong way and understand how it actually meant to be?
Well, that's what our life is all about, right?
Acquire proper vision.
Yeah.
Yes, acquiring proper vision. That is the idea, right? There's different stages on the path, and we are told one day, if we can faithfully follow the path, such a plane will open to us. We are told. We are hopeful one day we will become free from this, selfish vision of the environment. That is the idea, that one day we will reach there. We are hopeful. We're pulled out the fan, or we're trying to pull out the fan, This is one expression Vaishnava Maharaj used to say, creating karmic reactions and mundane tendencies. He compared it to, maybe it's an ISKCON expression, I don't know. He compared it to plugging in a fan. So we're trying to unplug that fan. We're still cycling through tendencies that we've acquired because of activities and impressions in previous lives, but we're trying to not create more. So it's we're trying to allow what's already there to spin out and die. We're not giving we're trying to not give more food to those mundane tendencies. Srila Sridhar Maharshi gives that prescription of, not feeding them, different selfish desires and inclinations come to us. And if we feed them, then we're like entering the cycle again, they're impelling us to like follow through with those things again. That's creating that tendency again, and it's like this cycle. So we're trying to not feed them, and if we can do that, then they won't have any food, they'll die, they'll leave us. And through that life of service, dedication to the higher Vaishnavas, then the whole beautiful world can open to us in the plane of dedication. That is our aspiration, that is the hope that has been given to us by our gurus.
Some people might maybe think there's still some desire to fulfill before I give them up. Of course I want to fulfill, but it's like trying to extinguish a fire by putting ghee, The fire is like creating more, One desire, then extinguish that, another is creating. It's like trying to...
Yes.
I think it's in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said it's just like...
Yes.
Trying to extinguish a fire by putting ghee.
Yes.
Can never be finished with material desire.
Yes.
Can it be seen in a way that lust is triggering material desires, but then, like hridrogam, the disease of the heart, it's triggering material desires, but then through analysis you can come up to a conclusion that any of the desires are empty, and none of them are like tempting, but still there is something which keeps you like coming with your mind, like certain like maybe we should go there, maybe we should do this, like even that there is it's not substantial, but for some reason your mind keeps coming back to those like empty proposals of the mind. Even though that you completely put everything apart and you see that there's nothing, and it should be like, okay, I got it, but still something deep within is bringing you back to
Well, Arjuna asked that question in Gita, and Krishna says it is calm, right?
Is it the same thing?
Calm, lust. Yes. Arjuna asks that, why is the living entity driven to sinful activity, even like against their own will sometimes? And Krishna gives that, that yes, it is calm, and sometimes it can turn into anger. I think it's there where he talks about that, if you don't get what you want, then it turns into anger, sangat, sanjayate, calm. But this is going a little too technical for me, I think.
That's what I'm saying, like the anger appears if the desire is not fulfilled.
Yes.
But through the analysis you can see that desire is not substantial and empty.
Yeah.
But you still have a...
Yes. Absolutely.
So by popping the desires, you don't get rid of the thing which triggers it.
What do you mean by popping the desires?
By analyzing my material desires, I come to a conclusion that they are empty. So I remove them, so to say, through analysis. But still, it doesn't remove the origin of the desire, which is calm.
I mean, the thing is, it's going to be a gradual process, right? It's not going to happen overnight, because this same thing is mentioned in those verses in the Bhagavatam. I'm wondering if we should pause here, or what do you think? It's okay. Is this going in too much, Barbara, for you?
No,
it's okay.
Of course.
Okay. Well, there's these famous verses in Srimad Bhagavatam, and they describe this, predicament that persons on the path will find themselves in, that they have, subscribed to these higher principles, they've signed up, yes, I want to live this higher life of dedication, love, and giving. I'm attracted to the glories of the Lord, I want to serve, I want to give. But they also feel this lower nature within themselves, pulling them to lower things. And as it says in these verses, you cannot immediately give those tendencies up. It is not possible. Jato Shadham. These verses are spoken by Krishna himself. Jato Shadhamat Katasu Nirvina Sarva Karmasu. Saying that they've actually lost interest in the world. They don't have any interest in worldly engagement. And by worldly engagement, we really mean selfish engagement. Not that we will give up the world and give up activity. That is not our path. But selfish engagement. We've lost interest. We have no interest in it. And Veda Dukatmakang Kaman means we know it's just full of suffering. We've lost interest. We know it's full of suffering. But Jushamanas Chatang Kaman. But we cannot give it up. It is like, a gross example, someone who has like a smoking addiction, they know it's bad for them. They don't even like it anymore, but they can't stop. It's like, where is the sense in any of that, There's no sense, But it is simply difficult to, you already like signed this contract a long time ago. You cannot immediately become free from that. So then, Proktena Bhakti Yogena Bhajato Masa Krimune Kam Hridaya Nashanti Sarvamai Hriday Stiti. Then Krishna is saying, in such a situation, this faithful devotee should continue unceasingly, constantly in all the practices of devotion that I have given, with faith and love in me. Praktena Bhakti Yogina Bhajatom. No, there's a verse before that I'm missing out. That's it. Tato Bhajeta Mamprita Shraddha Lor Dridha Nishtra. There's like 3 superlatives here. Shraddha Lor means with full of faith. Dridha, firm. Nishtraya, conviction. Firm, faithful conviction. Like so many superlatives are there. In this situation, they should continue. Tato Bhajeta Mamprita, with affection, love for me, firm, faithful heart. Tato Bhajeta Mamprita Shraddhalor Judinishtraya Jushamanascha Kam Dukkha Darkamscha Garhayan. That's it. They will still sometimes fall into that lower plane, Our Gurudev compared it to this like punishment that kings used to have in the past of dunking someone underwater, then bringing them up again. So in the same way on our spiritual path, sometimes we may submit to those lower tendencies, go underwater, then we will come up again, then we may go down again, but we come up again. But we will not stay down forever. We will not forever surrender to that lower pull. We will again arise through the grace, the mercy of, the Lord, the Guru, the Vaishnavas. And also it is mentioned, Dukkha Darkam Stragarhayan, that sincere practitioner will repent. And our Gurudev, he put some emphasis on that, that we will repent. And that like, he used this word anutap. I guess it's a Bengali word. It means repentance, and Gurudev said that fire of repentance will purify the heart. That it is not that you have to go and do time in prison, or you have to have some punishment, but simply that sincere feeling of regret in the heart. Why did I do that? Then that will purify us. And then Tato Bhajita then Proktena Bhakti Yogena Bhajato Masa Krimune Kam Hridaya Nashanti Sarva Hridi Mayistite. Then that devotee will unceasingly, constantly engage themselves And Srila Sridhar Maharshi also mentioned in this regard that when the devotees, finds these lower tendencies, it will actually, and they find themselves coming under the influence of these things, it will actually make them more determined, It is like if somebody wants to become, some running champion, if they're very determined, then if they have some early failure, it may make them more determined. I'm going to do it next time. Next time I'm going to win. Next time I'm going to get it. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, the sincere practitioner may feel like that. If they have what they consider to be a failure, it will make them more determined. No, I have to try harder. Let me look within myself. What am I doing that is making me weak? Let me try to find how I can improve, Then they will be more determined. Next time I will do better. I will avoid this, avoid that. I will try to do this and do that. And that will help me become stronger in the life of devotion. And then constantly engaging in all the practices of devotion that have been given by the Lord. And calm, hridaya nashanti. That calm in the heart will be destroyed. And sarvamaya hridisa. They will find that I am there. They will be situated in perfect Krishna consciousness. They will see me everywhere. I will become revealed within their heart. And then finally the last verse, very famous, very beautiful verse. Vidyate hridaya grantis. Chidyante sarva samshaya. Vidyate hridaya grantis. Chidyante sarva samshaya. Kiyante chasya karmani mayi hriday. But that this is very vidyate hridaya granti, saying that there is a knot on the heart, or more than one knot, few knots, many knots on the heart, of so means like so many misconceptions that we've acquired from this world that are like tying down the heart, restricting the potential of the heart. So these ideas that I am this and I am that, and I need this and I need that, and this is mine and that is mine. These are all like knots checking that free flow of the heart. Then those knots, they will be broken. Chidyante sarvasam. All doubts will be slashed. We will find fulfillment, complete fulfillment. Any doubt that we have, it will be, destroyed. We will find the highest satisfaction, the highest fulfillment. And kiyante chasya karmani. Any entanglement that we have in this world, in the world of karma, action, reaction, that will be destroyed. It will be burned. And the very last phrase, I don't remember, but saying that I will be situated in their heart, I will be revealed in all my glory within their heart. So it is a gradual path. It is not that immediately we can go from here to there. And our faith will be tested again and again. But if we are sincere, determined, we will become stronger because of that. And these verses, very hopeful for us, hopeful, helpful, and Gurudev and Param Gurudev, they've discussed these verses. Well, maybe we stop there. Jai Shri Gurudev ki jai.